What if everything you've been told about making a man fall in love is actually the reason he loses interest instead of becoming obsessed? Welcome to Decode His Mind, where we break down the hidden psychology of love, attraction, and the way men truly think in relationships. In today's video, we're uncovering what actually makes a man fall into deep emotional attachment. Not the surface level advice you usually hear, but the real psychological patterns behind obsession, desire, and lasting connection. The man who ends up deeply in love with you isn't there because you were overly nice, always available, or constantly doing the right things. He didn't fall for you just because you showed up every time he needed something or because you tried to be the perfect woman. And honestly, the strange truth is this: the things that actually make a man fall that hard are often the things most women avoid completely.
They sound wrong. They feel selfish. They go against everything we're taught about love. But here's the twist no one talks about. Those exact behaviors are what separate a woman he casually likes from a woman he can't stop thinking about. The kind of woman who stays in his mind all day, who disrupts his focus, who makes him act differently without even realizing why.
If you've ever watched a man become completely obsessed with a woman who doesn't seem to be trying that hard, while you're giving your all and still getting very little in return, then this is going to shift something in you. Because what you're about to understand changes the way attraction actually works. We've been taught that love grows from being kind, supportive, understanding, and always emotionally available. Be his peace, be his comfort, be the one who understands everything. That's the common advice. But when you look closely at the women who actually have men hooked, constantly thinking about them, adjusting their lives for them, it's not because they followed that advice perfectly. In many cases, they naturally did the opposite, and that's where the real truth sits. Male obsession isn't triggered by what looks correct on the surface. It's triggered by emotional signals he can't fully control or predict.
The women who create this level of attachment aren't trying to manipulate anything. They're simply behaving in ways that activate something deep in his psychology. And once that switch is on, he doesn't just like her. He starts needing the feeling he gets around her. It becomes addictive in a quiet way. He can't explain it logically. He just feels drawn in, pulled back, thinking about her when he shouldn't be. And no matter who else he meets, they don't quite create that same effect.
If you're tired of men who show interest but never fully commit, who stay close but never choose you completely, then understanding this matters. Because this is what separates being an option from being the one he actually chooses. There are a few specific patterns that create this kind of emotional pull. Not basic attraction, not surface level interest. We're talking about deeper emotional fixation. And yes, some of these patterns feel uncomfortable at first because they don't match what we've been taught about being a good woman in love. But that discomfort is exactly why they work. Because real emotional attraction in men doesn't grow from predictability. It grows from contrast, space, and emotional tension. The brain doesn't obsess over what is always available. It obsesses over what feels meaningful, but not fully guaranteed. Think about it. When something feels too easy, it gets mentally categorized as safe and then ignored. But when something feels valuable and slightly uncertain, the mind keeps returning to it. That's where obsession begins. In that space between having and possibly losing. You might have seen this before. A man who was casual suddenly starts changing. He begins texting more, showing up differently, making more effort, even shifting his priorities. It didn't happen because he suddenly realized your value. It happened because something about the dynamic changed how he felt around you. And that feeling is everything. Men don't fall into deep emotional attachment through overthinking. They fall through emotional experience. Their body reacts first, their logic comes later. Just like you can't force hunger when you're full, you can't force obsession in someone. It either gets activated or it doesn't. And what activates it is not chasing, overgiving, or constantly proving your worth. In fact, that usually does the opposite. What often happens is this: a woman meets a man, things start well, and then she slowly increases her availability. She becomes more understanding, more flexible, more emotionally invested. She starts adjusting her time, her energy, her responses, all to keep things smooth. Her intention is love. Her message is care. But what he unconsciously receives is something else entirely. He starts to feel that she is always there, always accessible, always adjusting. And slowly, without either of them realizing it, the emotional tension disappears, because obsession needs tension to survive. It needs space. It needs uncertainty. It needs a sense that access to you is not automatic. Not because you are playing games, not because you are cold, but because your life is already full without him. The moment a man feels like he is the center of your world too early, the chase stops. And when the chase stops, so does the emotional intensity. He may still like you, he may still stay around, but that deeper pull, that constant thinking, that emotional pullback, it fades. And most women don't realize they accidentally caused that shift by trying too hard to keep things secure. But the truth is, strong emotional attraction needs contrast. It needs a woman who is present but not consumed, caring but not dependent, available but not always accessible, not as a strategy, but as a natural result of a life that already has meaning in it. Because when your life feels full, he feels that. When your attention is not constantly on him, he feels that too. And that creates a kind of curiosity that turns into emotional attachment over time. Another key truth is this: every interaction either builds emotional pull or reduces it. Every reply, every meeting, every moment together sends a signal to his nervous system about how he feels with you. If everything feels predictable, overly easy, or emotionally one-sided, the intensity drops. But if there is a healthy rhythm of closeness and space, comfort and slight uncertainty, the emotional system stays activated. It's like a rubber band. Without distance, there is no tension. And without tension, there is no pull. Many women unknowingly remove that tension by always being instantly available, always replying immediately, always adjusting their life to fit him. At first, it feels like love, but over time, it removes the very thing that keeps him emotionally engaged. The women who naturally create stronger attraction are not the ones who are constantly present. They are the ones who stay grounded in their own world while allowing connection to exist inside it. They don't shrink their life to fit a man. They let a man enter a life that already has structure, purpose, and movement. And that changes everything, because now being with her feels like something he has to earn a place in, not something that is automatically given. And that feeling is what keeps emotional interest alive. Not pressure, not chasing, not over-explaining, just presence with boundaries. And when a man senses that, something shifts in him. He starts to value the connection differently. He starts to show up more intentionally, not because he is controlled, but because he is emotionally engaged. That is where real attachment begins to form, and everything else builds from there. The man who ends up deeply in love with you isn't there because you were overly kind, always available, or constantly trying to do everything right. He didn't become obsessed just because you showed up every time he needed something or made his life easier. And the surprising truth is this: the things that actually pull a man in that deeply are often the very things most women avoid. They feel wrong at first. They feel selfish, cold, or even like you're doing something you shouldn't. But those are the exact things that separate casual attention from the kind of intense emotional attachment where he can't stop thinking about you, where you stay in his mind, and where his behavior starts to shift around you without him even noticing. If you've ever seen a man become completely consumed by a woman who doesn't seem to be trying too hard, while you've been giving your best and still not getting the same energy back, then this will change how you see everything. Because real attraction doesn't work the way most people think it does. We're usually taught that love grows when you're caring, supportive, always understanding, always available, always proving you're different by giving more.
But when you look closely at the women men actually become obsessed with, something else is happening. They aren't overgiving. They aren't shrinking themselves. They aren't constantly proving anything.
They naturally create emotional conditions that make a man feel something stronger than logic. And once that feeling is triggered, he doesn't just like her. He starts feeling pulled in a way he can't fully explain. It becomes something he thinks about when she's not around, something he returns to mentally, something that feels a bit addictive because it's not fully predictable. If you're stuck in situations where men show interest but never fully choose you, this is where the difference lies, because there are specific emotional patterns that create deep attachment. Not surface attraction, but that stronger, consuming kind of connection. And yes, some of these patterns feel uncomfortable at first because they go against what we're told a good woman should do in love. But discomfort is often where real attraction begins, because obsession doesn't grow in predictability. It grows in contrast, space, and emotional tension. When everything is too easy, too available, too certain, the mind relaxes and stops chasing. But when something feels valuable and slightly uncertain, the mind keeps returning to it. That's where emotional pull starts to build. You might have noticed this before. A man who was once casual suddenly becomes more present, more consistent, more interested. He starts making effort, adjusting his time and prioritizing differently. That shift didn't happen just because he suddenly realized your value. Something in the dynamic changed how he felt around you. And that feeling is the key. Men don't fall into deep attachment through logic. They fall through emotion and experience. Their body reacts first, and their mind follows later. Just like you can't force hunger when you're already full, you can't force obsession. It either gets activated or it doesn't. And what activates it is not overgiving, not chasing, and not constantly trying to secure his attention. In many cases, those things actually reduce attraction over time. What often happens is simple. A woman meets a man, things start well, and then she slowly starts adjusting herself around him. She becomes more flexible, more available, more emotionally invested. She starts reshaping her time and energy to keep things smooth. Her intention is love. Her intention is connection. But what he starts to feel, often without realizing it, is that she is always there, always accessible, always adjusting. And slowly, the emotional tension disappears because deep attachment needs tension to exist. It needs space. It needs uncertainty. It needs the sense that your world is not built around him. Not because you're playing games, but because your life already has structure and meaning without him in the center of it. The moment a man feels like he is the center of your emotional world, too early, the chase stops. And when the chase stops, the intensity usually drops with it. He may still care, he may still stay, but that deeper emotional pull weakens. and most women don't realize they created that shift by trying too hard to keep things stable. But strong attraction requires contrast. It needs a woman who is warm but not consumed, present but not dependent, open but not fully predictable. Not as a strategy, but as a natural reflection of a full life. Because when your life already feels meaningful, he can feel it. When your attention isn't constantly locked on him, he feels that too. And that creates curiosity, which slowly turns into emotional attachment. Another important truth is this: every interaction either increases emotional pull or decreases it. Every text, every response, every moment together sends a signal about how he feels around you. If everything feels predictable and emotionally flat, attraction fades. But if there is a balance of closeness and space, comfort and slight uncertainty, the emotional system stays engaged. Think of it like a rubber band. Without distance, there is no tension. And without tension, there is no pull. Many women accidentally remove that tension by being too available, responding instantly, and constantly adapting to his timing. At first, it feels like love, but over time, it removes the very thing that keeps him emotionally invested. The women who naturally create stronger attraction aren't always the most present. They are the ones who stay grounded in their own life while allowing connection to exist inside it. They don't reduce their world for a man. They invite him into a world that already exists. And that changes how he experiences them completely. The core idea of this entire message is simple. Deep attraction and emotional attachment in men doesn't come from overgiving, chasing, or constantly proving your worth. It comes from balance. When you have your own full life, steady confidence, healthy emotional boundaries, a natural sense of mystery, and you make a man feel like his best self without trying to control him, something shifts. He doesn't just notice you, he becomes emotionally invested in you in a deeper way. Because real connection isn't built on availability or effort alone. It's built on emotional experience, tension, and value that feels real and rare. And when a woman already feels whole within herself, love stops being something she chases and becomes something that naturally comes toward her. If this helped you understand what really creates deep attraction and emotional connection, make sure you like this video, subscribe to Decode His Mind, and hit the bell icon so you never miss what comes next. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, comment the word magnetic below so I know you're here and ready to go deeper into the psychology of love and attraction.